Hello and welcome to Precontation Points video Snark. I'm making my way through Stalking Jack the Ripper by Kerri Maniscalco. If you haven't seen the other videos about the book, please make sure that you do, or else you might be confused. Links will be posted below. Chapter 27, A Portrait Worth Considering, Wadsworth Residence, Belgrave Square, 9th of November, 1888. Oh Lord, is that random portrait from when she snuck into her father's office going to become relevant again? Does this mean that the gravy and the girl with the upturned nose are going to be relevant again too? Audrey returns to her family home, but she dithers inside before she actually goes to confront her father. It was too late to run for assistance now. Thomas wanted to go with her, but Audrey decided to wrap things up rather than to wait a couple of hours more at the most. And the thing that frustrates me the most is that Audrey let her father go unchecked for so long. What's a few more hours for Thomas to return? Just as she's about to go in, she suddenly remembers the words of Mr. Lee, the psychic, and how he said that Jack had Audrey in his sights. She suddenly wishes that she had a weapon of some sort, again stating that she could have very well waited a few hours for Thomas to return, but no. She then randomly thinks of her mother. Father had inadvertently destroyed her. Weapon or not, I'd not allow him to do the same to me. Okay, how? I'm confused about where this line of thinking has come from. And then when she finally summons the courage to open the door, it's not to find her father and Nathaniel, but some of the servants enjoying their meal in the fancy dining room instead. Some of them say that they've left and don't know when they'll return. Audrey says that she'll wait in her father's study and do not disturb her under any circumstances. She also encourages them to retire early for the evening. She goes to the office and decides to look for the locket like Mr. Lee had said, and it's literally right where he said, which is creepy. The locket was holding a place in Paradise Lost, and a quote from the book is given to us, and at this point, I'm just happy that we aren't given shoehorned Pride and Prejudice references while the author has zero understanding of the book. However, apparently, we can't even escape from badly shoehorned book references, even in a young adult book about Jack the Ripper. He was comparing his gruesome acts to Satan's in Paradise Lost. She spends an unholy amount of time thinking about Satan and her dad. This only cements in her mind that her father really is Jack. She also feels like her father is doing this because of his dead wife. Audrey then turns her attention to the painting and goes to rub some dirt off from the plaque when it swings inward, because of course there's a hidden room. Oh gee, I wonder what she's going to find. Even as Audrey steps down, she seems to grasp that, 1. This is probably where her father has been hiding his trophies, and 2. Going down there is probably the stupidest thing that she's ever going to do. She briefly thinks about going to the actual police. But first, she looks back at the painting some more. It's one of her ancestors, as previously established, and named Jonathan Nathaniel Wadsworth I. For some reason, Audrey seems to think that this is important, but I'm honestly drawing a blank here. Like, yeah, he's the namesake for both uncle and her brother, but, like, and people did that all the time. I have literally, 10 generations of alternating William, Charles, William, Charles, William in my family tree. But Audrey thinks that her father blames uncle for showing him the way to hell for failing her mother, which is why he has the painting up over the passageway. Audrey then thinks that she hears moaning coming from the passage. She thinks that there might be another victim down there right now, and worse, their father might be holding Nathaniel hostage. When she steps further into the passage, she's certain what she's hearing is somebody, but when she goes even further, she stops hearing anything human and only just hears a strange noise that she likens to that of a mechanical heart. After taking a moment to gather her courage, she finally presses on to the main part of the hidden dungeon. There, she finds something that she describes as being way worse than Uncle's lab, and she finds basically her father attempting to make some sort of cross between a Frankenstein's monster and a robot that's covered with human flesh. Oh, that is horrifying. She also finds what looks like an old beer bottle filled with blood. This is in reference to Jack mentioning that he kept some of the blood to write with later, but found that blood doesn't exactly keep well for writing. at least not in the late 19th century. Then she spots the source of the mechanical beating noise, which is a human heart detached from any other part of the body, but being kept alive by these machines that are constantly pumping blood in and out of it. And finally, because we knew that this would be there, there's a coffin. Audrey goes over to it and seems relieved to see who's inside, but the chapter ends with that. The teaser picture between chapters is human hand anatomized and preserved 19th century. I feel like if you really want to see preserved 19th century hands, then you can look it up on your own. Sorry, not sorry. Chapter 28, Jack the Ripper, Wadsworth Residence, Belgrave Square, 9th of November, 1888. In the coffin was Nathaniel. Audrey naturally wants to leave, go to the police now that she's seen the creepy dungeon, but Nathaniel is not acting quite right. He almost seems out of it. He lashed onto my wrist with a vice-like grip, yanking me away from the stairs and deeper into Jack the Ripper's lair. I struggled against him, not understanding his need to be difficult, when he threw his head back and laughed. Oh boy, here we go. I mean, the thought of Nathaniel kind of took me by surprise, but he was also on her list of possible suspects. He pretty much fits with all of the stuff Audrey was thinking about their father. But as you might imagine, Audrey needs Nathaniel to working spell it out for her. And even then, she immediately jumped straight to denial, because of course she does. She was so eager to throw her awful father under the proverbial bus that she forgot what an awful brother Nathaniel was. He says that he helped get Uncle off by sending those letters, and that seeing what happened after was an awful lot of fun. He goes on acting like he's figured out how to bring their mother back from the dead. Audrey likens him to Dr. Frankenstein. He doesn't see anything at all wrong with killing people, and says that the lives of a couple of prostitutes seems like a small price to pay in exchange for their mother, who was a, and I quote, good woman. Audrey asks about the gears, although Nathaniel says that they weren't important, he just left them where he dropped them. And why gears? I still don't understand. He goes on to say that he didn't intend to kill so many, but obviously once you remove the organs, they tend to, stop working. And he worked at night, and the darkness provided its own problems, so he was constantly evolving his methods over time as he figured things out. And then he drags out their mother's rotting corpse, because of course that's there too. He says that he wished that he'd thought of doing it right when she died, because now her body is starting to rot. He'd been keeping her on ice, although he admits that he had a lot of problems to get her from her grave back to the house. Audrey is just horrified over the entire thing, and then she asks how he came to discover the dungeon, because that's really forking important right now. Nathaniel admits that he started giving more and more drugs to their father, even knowing full well what it could do to him. But honestly, Audrey, the man just admitted to murdering dozens of women, and you're holding giving father more opium on the same level of killed a bunch of prostitutes. She needs to sort out her priorities. And then Audrey pieces together what I already did at the beginning of the chapter. Because Nathaniel and their father are close and live together, it honestly does make an awful lot of sense that Audrey might confuse the two of them. Nathaniel then starts to put his mechanically operating heart into the chest of their mother while explaining his process to Audrey. Audrey begs him to stop this madness, but he obviously refuses. Audrey screams that none of this makes her happy and that she doesn't want any of this, but in the same breath, she also thinks about how if she goes to Scotland Yard, they will kill her brother. Which, yeah, that's the point, baby cakes. She was totally on board with doing the same thing to her father, but the second she finds out that it's not her father, she balks and needs to think her actions do. It took her weeks just to get to the point where she actually wanted to confront her father, and right now, she doesn't have much time before Nathaniel turns on her. He seems to do an about-face and apologizes and says that it'll never be enough. Audrey tries to get him upstairs to have some tea, but Nathaniel clearly has other ideas. He grabs her arm and waves his syringe around while quoting something. I don't know, Paradise Lost maybe? I don't care. So yeah, that just happened. Thanks for listening to my book Snark on YouTube. If you're enjoying this, please hit that subscribe button. I post a new Snark video every Monday, but if you're eager for more Snark, you can check out my review of The Plan. If you've already seen that, then you can head over to Tumblr for my main book Snarks. And if all of that is somehow still not enough for you, then you can become my Patreon supporter for just $1 a month and read a bunch of bonus Snarks that isn't up anywhere else. See you next week, guys.